Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the day, and today I'm going to demonstrate that I have completed the assignment, which is the assignment called 9.2. The assignment is all about interaction with the database we are using interface, and it's all about a distinction task. In here, uh, I'm going to discuss more about uh, what would be the server packages and the technologies that I have used, and I'm gonna show the state of the database, and I'm gonna do and demonstrate the attempts that use which is entered successful insertion, and also the successful insertion, and how the display the show how the success message would be displaying in the system, how the data store in the database and all the stuff. Okay, let's jump into the system. uh, Here I have used form validation, online form validation, which is says form validation, and online form validation also. I have used 4 fields, which is called name, email, and the employee ID and the phone. The name should be string and it cannot be empty, and the email also should be string and it is also cannot be empty, and it should be a valid email, and also the employee ID should not be empty, and also phone number should be a valid, and user can't enter the any other characters rather than the integers. Let's see how it would be happen. In the firstly I have entered the empty space and the valid name. It says that the valid, and I have to try to implement the email, uh, invalid emails, and it says that the invalid email address, and I'm trying to again to enter the email address as invalid, and finally I'm going to enter it as a valid email, and it says that valid input. And employee ID, I have mentioned in the earlier, it should be valid email ID, which is only contain integers, and ID also cannot be empty. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the phone number should be a valid character. It cannot contains any other characters, so if I enter as a W, it will display the invalid characters that I have already input. So let's fix it out. Let's say here, then here you have seen that record added successfully into the database. Let's go to the database, MySQL database system, and I have already created the database called SIT774, and inside there are 2 tables. One is form details and one is user. I have used the form details to insert my data, and there are 4 fields in the form tables. In the form table, here is some kind of data that I have tried to use. Let's go to the structure, and the name field, it is containing varchar, also containing 24 characters. And let's go to the email also contain varchar, and also you can have 255 characters. ID number should be integer, and mobile number should also be integer. Let's move to how to display all the data once completing all the data have insert. Here, this is the data that I have used to insert into the database. Let's move to the code, how I have implemented. Here is my index.th HTML page. I have used valid standard to create the HTML file. I have validated all the valid inputs as in green color and valid inputs as red color. Here is the form validation. In the form action, I have called the action to the submit PHP, which is on the left side. Once you click the submit button, it will redirect to the submit PHP. Before, before going to the submit PHP, I have used the JavaScript validate form function to validate all the input fields. Let's go through with that. And I use the method post on submit return form validation. All the inputs field validate before the action call. Here when you press the submit button, it will go to all the fields and check whether all the valid fields are there. Here is the validate form. Here there are two functions. Function validate form is check whether the function validation is returned true or false. If it is returned true, then it is going to the submit.php file. Otherwise it will display keep on once you enter the true values into the form, until unless you have finishing with it completing the form, it will return true. Otherwise it will return false. Let's move on to the validations. Throughout the validation, here is the name validation. Return name error cannot be empty, otherwise it will return false. If you enter the valid name, it will display as a name valid. And invalid, I have used the pattern to catch the email pattern whether it is a correct one or not, and if it is incorrect, it will display image as invalid email address. Otherwise it will return true. And the ID number, I am getting the using the ID number, and it cannot be also empty, and if it is empty, return false. Otherwise it will return as success. And the phone number, I have already used the pattern, which is it should be 10 characters, and if user enter invalid character, it will display the character that have you enter as invalid. Otherwise it will display true as a valid phone number. If not, it will display as invalid phone number. Display error, I have used 3 function to validate all the function. If you enter, and you will see that you have seen that the validate function display as a green as it is a validate. If not, it will display at error message including red value. Here is the submit PHP form is look like. I have used 4 variable to connect my database. The server name is localhost, username is root, and the password also is my password, and the database that I have used sit774. The connection, here I have used the connection, and if the connection fail, it will display an error message also. And I have used 4 variables to collect name, email, and the ID number and the mobile phone. Here are the four variables that I have used, and after that I have used a variable called SQL to insert data to the form details. Here is the form. Here are the 4 columns that I have used, and here are the values that I have used enter and getting through those 4 variables. If the record insert successfully, it will say a message that record added successfully. That's how I have used these assignment in order to complete my distinction task. I hope that will work finally and evaluate successfully. Thank you.